Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew, and welcome back to Cities Skylines 1. And it has been a while since I've actually played Cities Skylines 1 here on the channel. I think the last time I played it was, oh goodness, like back when the Sunset Harbor DLC came out. And keep in mind, since then, obviously we've had Cities Skylines 2, and we've had plenty of DLCs come out since then, including a lot of content creator packs, which I plan to dabble in at some point during this series. But to get us started, I think it is going to be worth our effort to find us a map to get us started. Now, one thing that is currently going on right now, if you're watching this at the time that this video release, is that there is currently a Steam sale going on right now where all of the DLC that you can get from City Skylines 1 is currently on sale, where you can get a lot of the DLC for up to 90% off, which is crazy when you think about it. So that's how I was able to get all of this DLC. Well, not all of it, but at least for a vast majority of the most recent DLC. Now, when it comes to selecting a map, 9 times out of 10, you end up choosing a map that is pretty well dispersed. You have good connections, you have good resource counts, and good buildable area. And those are the 3 main criteria to look for within a said map. So I'm going to take a look at the maps real quick here. And the map that I want to take a look at is from the Map Pack 3, which, if I'm not mistaken, it is one of these maps right here, which the one that we're going to go for is fortunately enough, Milestone Valley. Now, Milestone Valley is a pretty flat area. You don't really got much in terms of hills to go to work with. You do got a couple divots of hills throughout the actual map, but aside from that, you don't got much else. You got pretty much all the connections except for no shipping connections. So we will have to be reliant on all other forms of outside connections. We have plenty of resources specifically to do with oil and ore. We do have some fertile land and some farming. And that's pretty good in my opinion as far as a good starting map is concerned. So I'm going to be playing this as though this is your first time ever watching a City Skylines video. I am just going to name this Leo City. If you have a better suggestion for a city name, please do go and leave it down in the comments. And who knows, maybe we'll have something else coming up in the comments as well by the time next episode comes about. So let's go and get started. We are playing in completely vanilla. I don't have any mods enabled. I do not have any custom assets enabled. So everything that you will be seeing are from all of the DLCs within the game. We are inside of our map tile to get us started. Now, as I said, this is a pretty flat map. We don't got much in terms of hills to go and work with. But the thing that I wanted to do about this map specifically is that this map ideally is meant for farming. You guys can kind of see that in sort of like the grid layout, so to speak. There are a couple of these grids that do have some interesting terrain deformations. But essentially, we got this 3-lane one-way road here that's going all the way through. And we technically got this 3-lane one-way road right here as well, but there's that. I'm going to also mute the actual in-game music because I'd rather not have that be playing in the background. So, what are we going to get started with? Well, in recognition of the countryside pack, we are going to try and make our way to get the districts unlocked first. Districts unlocked at 950 population on this map. So what we need to do is we need to get said 950 population. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to upgrade this road right here. Now, I'm going to upgrade it so that way it's a two-way road. And we'll most likely have to upgrade that again. But essentially what that does, it does unlock a couple of the extra roads that we have available to us. Now, what I'm going to do with these roads and I'm gonna use the gravel road here primarily, is I'm gonna be using these as a sort of a baseline, you could say. So like this area over here, this seems like it would be good for like a good rail yard. And that's my idea. So I'm gonna leave enough space so that way when we unlock trains, we can have a rail yard. And over here, I think, is going to be primarily our industrial estate. So our industrial estate is going to be, I'm going to say pretty small at start. It's not going to be something too big that I want to kind of like grow, because eventually what I want to do is I want to go ahead and get our industrial estate out of here. I want to go and make it so that way we're going to be using some sustainable options rather than polluting options for our industrial. So we'll go ahead and create some interesting patterns here. And I think what we'll do is we will go ahead and get some grids going along here. Just some off-shape grids, nothing spectacular. By all means, these are not going to be symmetrical, not going to be perfect in any capacity. Like, for example, this is already like so much bigger than this, but it's going to have just as much space because of how we're organizing it all. Now, all of this is going to get connected to this gravel road, which is perfectly fine, which, speaking of, let's actually connect that now. And over here, I think is a good area to start us off for a residential area. And I think what we'll do, we will come out by 3 blocks. 3 blocks or 3 units, however you want to describe it. And I'm going to put a court in right there. So that's fine there. And what I want to do as well is I want to get another road over here. So I'm going to be doing a lot of road placement. So let's go ahead and get that sorted out real quick. So we got some roads to get us started there. We are going to go ahead and expand out these roads eventually. Not right now, but eventually. Especially when we start to unlock the larger roads. Well, we can unlock the larger roads right now, but I'm not going to use the larger roads for the time being. My idea is that this starting area is going to be more of a countryside, whereas we're going to build a sort of like maybe downtown over here, or maybe another somewhere else. That's something that I'll have to decide later on. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this area started. So we can go ahead and get some quick zoning going on in here, which I think is perfectly fine. We're going to have this be our primary residential zone or district. So we're going to have a lot of low-income residential over here. What we're going to place over here, though, is our industrial. So our industrial is going to be our places where our Sims are going to want to work, where they're going to go ahead and do all of their daily activities to go and make money. And just because we're going to need it, we'll place some commercial right in between. Maybe it's like on their way home from work, they end up stopping at the commercial and end up shopping. Okay, so we got that to get us started. Now we do need to get some actual utilities going on in here, and utilities in this game are not like Cities Skylines 2, where they're built within the road, but rather you do have to place them manually. If you're not familiar with that already, let me go ahead and just do a little bit of this action. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that just to make it a bit better. And I'm going to get a, yeah, I'll get that connected right about there. That way we have the very good coverage right there for that. I am going to go ahead and get a small connection over here. So one thing we can do is I'm going to go ahead and turn off the angle snapping. There we go. And turn off the road guidelines as well. I don't need the road guidelines here. Okay. And just to go ahead and make it seem like we're following the road network a little bit, I'm going to have it connect like so. And we're going to bring this straight on out. And we're going to drag you along. And yeah, that should be plenty. Okay, so that is a start. What we're going to do is we're going to get a inland water treatment plant over in our industrial area. I kind of want to have this be on its own little corner. It's not going to have enough space down there, so let's go ahead and just put it down here. We are going to need to connect that to the network. And let's get a water tower right over here. This is going to be far enough away from the commercial, but it's also going to be far enough away from our residential, which is perfectly fine. Exactly what we need. And it's just to get us started. We will definitely be improving upon this later on. Okay, so that is our basic services right there for water. We do need some power, and we do got some good highland power right here. So we could get some wind power going, which I think we will do. And we'll start off with 2 windmills or wind turbines. And what we will do is I will go ahead and get this connected there and connect you to there. Just as temporary measures, that will get us started with our power. The wind turbines will get started. We are running the game now. We should now start seeing some population building up over here. As soon as we do, I'm going to go ahead and try and connect them to the grid. Yep, there they are. Okay, I want to try and get some more. Yeah, perfect. So definitely get a house in right there. And I'm going to just connect you up like so. So that way we have plenty of power that is going to be dispersed throughout our low-income residential. Now we do got to be a bit patient here because we are needing to get a lot of people coming in to get us started. We first got to wait for people to actually move into the city as well. Right now they're only building the houses, just not the actual people coming in. And look at that, we're already starting to get people coming on in. We're going to start to see those cars coming down the actual highway here. Or we should in just a moment at least. Let's see. Where are they? I don't see any coming from that direction. What about this direction? I don't see any yet. Oh. I think that there might be some coming along. The moment that we start to see people moving into the city, that is when we're going to be able to start making money. Now, I am running on 3 times speed right now. Ideally, I don't like running on 3 times speed just because it kind of ruins the actual gameplay. And here comes the swarm of people coming on in. They're going to be making their right-hand turn into the actual residential area. Perfect. And that's just to get us started. We got plenty of people getting in now that they have access to all of this residential. Let's actually go and get some more residential placed along the side there. In fact, actually, that should be fine. That should be good. And over here, I think at some point I'm going to make this into a park, but we'll leave that be for now. Okay, water is looking up. Power is looking good. Now, one thing we can do is we can put a row of commercial over here as well. And let's see, our industrial is taking off spectacularly. And that's exactly what we want to see here. And I'm going to just go ahead and draw out some industrial over here. Just so that way we have some better use there. And I'm also going to get another road put in place over here. Actually, that went a little bit off kilter. Let me go and turn an angle back on. So that's something to keep in mind. If you are brand new to the game and you're not aware about how the snapping guidelines work, just keep in mind that when you have road guidelines turned on, you'll end up seeing that you'll have these markers next to the nodes for the individual segment of roads. And those are very helpful for when building out and knowing how far to go. Grid snapping, that is where you snap to the actual grid tiles that are placed by the actual roads. Road length, that is how you actually get the markers right there for the 10 units and so on and so forth. And then angle snapping. Angle snapping is referring to, of course, snapping at like 90 degrees angles or something like that. So keep that in mind when you are building, as sometimes it can go and catch you a little bit off guard, because if you disable it on one menu, for example, most likely you're going to be accidentally disabling it on another menu. So keep that in mind, I'd say. Okay, now what I am going to do here, I'm going to step this back a little bit. I'm going to bring you to there. Just so that way we have a little bit of a better curvature. And that way we can get some more industrial placed along here. Since right now we definitely need more work-based jobs, so we definitely want to get some more industrial put into the city. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. Now we will need to extend our water line as well. So I'm going to turn off angle snapping here. That way it snaps to the grid. And yeah, we'll go ahead and do a little bit of that. So that way it connects it back around. We do gotta wait now just for this industrial to build on up. That is going to take a little bit of our demand out of the way. And now we are in a positive income, which is perfect. That's exactly what I'd like to see. Now, what we can do with this awkward space down here is we could go ahead and extend it. I am going to actually extend the road though. And I'm going to turn off road guidelines here. Just so that way, when we are ready to extend these roads, we actually have a baseline as far as like what we need to look for. Okay. And it looks like, yeah, we're going to be pretty slow on traffic just to get us started. We should be hitting our first milestone here in just a minute. Our first milestone is at 480 population. So we should be seeing that our residential area is getting quite built up right now. So let's take a look at our zoning. Okay, not bad, not bad. Some little hiccups, I think, with the zoning, but I think they're not bad nonetheless. Oh, and a little bit of lag spike right there. And nope, that is because we got our first milestone. We got taxes and loans now, so we can now take out a $20,000 loan if we need to. I don't think we'll need to, but who knows. We also have access to garbage, healthcare, and education. We will definitely be taking a look at education here within this episode. Garbage, though, is going to be a priority. So we got all these new buildings that we unlocked here, including some content creator buildings, which we will definitely take a look at. So one thing I do like to do is, because of the fact that we are starting off on such a low ball, let's go ahead and get a recycling center put in place. Now, a recycling center is a lot more expensive than just doing a landfill. A landfill only costs us $4,000 and it's $160 per week, whereas a recycling center costs us $240 per week at $16,000 of a cost. The reason that I go with a recycling center is so that way we can get a head start on garbage processing for incineration. This is sort of a short-term solution because we don't really get the incineration plan until 8,000, and we don't get the waste transfer facility until 22,000. And that's the same time that we get the waste processing complex. So in this case, we are going to be starting off with a recycling center. So we're going to start that off right there. That's going to get us some good garbage processing per week. So that's 24,000 units that it's able to process per week for its capacity, which we're only at 15,000 right now. As the city grows, we will need to expand that regardless of what we decide to put into the city. Now we are needing some more industrial, so we will get that inside. And at this point, this is where I tend to be a little bit more precarious with how I do my zoning. And let's take a look here. We do need some commercial as well, so let's go ahead and plop some commercial down over here. We don't need much. As far as residential is concerned, we do have some residential that we can place down over here. Now, one thing I am going to try to do is once when we unlock the actual highway roads, I am going to convert this into an actual highway. And this most likely will get converted into an interchange, which let's take a look at that. One of the things that you can definitely take advantage of is one of the, I forget which pack it was, but one of the creator packs included all of these different interchanges right here, which I gotta say, I love these interchanges. Some of them work fantastic. Like for example, this Parklow interchange. We also got this Parklow interchange where it's on both sides. We also got the Diverging Diamond. Diverging Diamond is a very useful one. We got Dogbone interchange. We got the Compact Roundabout. So a lot of these will come in useful as we continue to play throughout the game. Now, they're not going to become useful, though, until we get to the highways, which that won't be until 2600. That's going to be a hot minute for us, which is perfectly fine. I don't think we have a problem with that. Now, we are getting some power complaints. Well, let's take a look here. Yep, it looks like power is getting used up quite a bit. Let's go ahead and place another wind turbine over here. And I'm going to go and delete this power line because we don't need it. Now, over here, though, I really want to go ahead and eliminate the need for the power lines to connect over here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to delete this power line real quick. I'm going to pause the game. And I'm going to place some residential right over here. And we'll have that be our sort of a connector, so to speak. If we can get some residential built up right there, that'll help us a lot when it comes to power. I am temporarily going to have another power line just be right over here. So that way our area is not without power. Come on. There you guys go. Okay. So there's that. We do got some residential that's zoned over here. And we do got some spots that are still open for residential zoning. So that's perfectly fine. Okay. Let's take a look here. What else can we do? Well, let's go ahead and get some commercial. We do need some more commercial inside of our little town. So it's not going to be too much for us to worry about. Now this little building right here, I like the placement of this, but at the same time, it's not going to be ideal. So what we can do is I might end up demolishing that. Might. I haven't decided yet. Now let's go ahead and take a look here. How is everything else doing? Electricity is doing fine. Water is doing fantastic. We're not going to have to worry about water for a while. We're only using about 20,000 per week. But we're going to need another water tower at some point, I'd say within the next milestone or so. Okay. So we got plenty of industrial. Let's go ahead and actually build up the industrial a little bit because we're going to need the actual industrial space. So we'll do that. And let's go ahead and check here. Yeah, all of our water is perfectly fine in this area. I'm not too concerned about it. We're going to have commercial building up shortly. In fact, we already got quite a bit of commercial. In fact, if everything goes according to plan, we should get some residential building up over here, causing this area to get connected, which is what we want. And that right there is the connection I was looking for. So there's that. We now have a actual connection so that we can get rid of those power lines. And let's see here. How is our citizen health doing right now? Citizen health is an average of 55. Not bad. We could end up adding in some some actual facilities. So if we add in the medical clinic, that's a $400 cost per week, and it's a $10,000 cost upright. For both versions, not just for the international and for the UK version. I think that we can afford that. And I'm going to put that right here. Now, I know I said earlier that this area would be converted into a park, but I think it's better to use that as a city services area. So like our medical will be over here. Maybe we'll put a school in over here and the like. So we'll put in a hospital in right there. We don't necessarily need it right away, but say for example that somebody gets sick, we definitely want to get that addressed rather quickly. Now, as for our schools, we don't got a lot of people that are eligible. So we could go ahead and put in a school, but I'm going to put in a community school. A community school is a smaller facility. It costs $12,000 to go ahead and build, and a little bit more upfront to go ahead and do. And I think we'll just place that right there. It has less of a student capacity, but it's at least a smaller variety of school, and I feel like it's going to be much more beneficial for us. Okay, so let's go ahead and run the game a little bit. I need to get some more residential in here. So I think that leads us to building into this area over here down to the south. And I think, yeah, let's go ahead and get a small area built up over here. Now I'm going to go ahead and align this to the railroad track here, because we do have the road initially that comes along the railroad track. And I'm actually going to bring this out a little bit because, yeah, kind of want to avoid a steep cut in the grade. So we'll bring you along to about, I'd say right there. And we will have a road coming out here. And let's go ahead and do this real quick. So what I'm going to do is I am essentially pretty much creating a curve. Now in Cities Skylines 2, you're able to do this with one of the road tools, but unfortunately we do not have that tool where you're able to go and create a S-bend type of intersection. I would really love it if they added that as one of the tools for Cities Skylines 1, but I can see why they didn't. Okay, so now we got that road going along right there. I don't think that we're gonna need anything else. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring this down. We're gonna drag that to there. And we're going to bring our roads down about by a similar sort of concept, but I'm going to bring it down by 4 instead on this one. And I'm going to bring it out a little bit extra right there because I think at some point, this area down here can be utilized for some recreational space. So like a park or something like that. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, so I want to go ahead and get a 6 going right there. And we're going to want to be very precise about this, I'd say. So let's go ahead and get a 6 going right there. And just cut that in half. And we'll go ahead and just connect you up like so. And there we go. Now, I think that the best way to go about this is similar to what we had on the other side, but I'm going to go ahead and bring you straight down. Okay. Now, based on my knowledge of how Cities Skylines works, this should be fairly easy for us to do. It's not something difficult. Okay, so it's a simple grid, nothing fantastic. We definitely need the actual population, so let's go ahead and get that started with that. And we also need to expand our water lines. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. And I'm going to actually connect up our water lines like so. And we are running a little bit short on cash, so I do have to be a bit sparing here. Okay, so it looks like we are almost out of cash here. I can run on 3 times speed just to go ahead and get us to a margin where we're able to go ahead and do this. And let me go and connect you like that. Perfect. And it does connect across the actual railroad tracks, which is what I wanted. And that is absolutely fantastic right there. We can go and expand our residential as well. And we should be coming up to the next milestone here in just a moment's time. Now, we are getting complaints where they are needing more is that more educated workers or, yeah, just more workers. So that's why we need the actual commercial demand. Or not commercial, residential demand. So we'll do that. Okay. Let's go and run that on 3 times speed. Let's get those residentials coming on in. And I'm going to get some commercial going on over here as well. And actually, before I forget, that stutter right there is, of course, where we unlock Worthy Village. We now get districts, policies, second loan, district specialization, services policies. We get emergency services, police departments, unique buildings, forestry, and agricultural specializations for industries. We get new residential specialization for self-sufficient buildings. We get organic and local produce, commercial specialization. We get new policies. And we get a few new buildings. We will definitely be taking advantage of those. So let's go ahead and get some commercial zoned out real quick because I think we're going to need it over here. And let me go ahead and quickly just bring our main road pipeline down a little bit. And I'm not too sure. I don't think that's going to connect, but we will be certain about that in just a moment. So let's go ahead and start off by actually doing what we talked about earlier. I want to go and get this area converted into mostly a countryside area. So countryside from the content creator pack. So let me go ahead and get a district started out. And we should have enough. Also, we are having some power demand issues, so we will have to take a look at that here in just a moment's time. Okay, now, since we are starting off with this Lake District, that is most likely not going to be its name, but if you want to go ahead and suggest names for any of the districts that we make, feel free to go and leave them down in the comments. I am going to change this over to Countryside. This is going to stunt our population a little bit. As soon as I make that change, we will start to see a lot of buildings going away and new buildings coming in their place. So the main thing about the Countryside Creator Pack is that it mostly focuses on the low residential income, or low residential and low commercial. So if you're not familiar with that, I recommend checking out the tutorial video that is on the Cities Skylines YouTube channel to go ahead and review that further. So let me go ahead and speed up time here, and we're going to wait for this to all build up. Okay, so our residential demand did go down quite a bit because of that. We are going to be getting some, the need for some power, actually. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Now, the reason that I'm starting off with just this area to go and build up is so that way this area is left intact. This area will most likely get adjusted at some point. Also, why is it that you're not connecting? Come on. Oh, that's why you're not connecting, because you don't have enough power. Okay. Well, I think that this is the perfect timing for us to go ahead and start, and I do hate to say this, but using coal power. Because we are going to need a much more reliable fuel source of power. And I think just having coal power would be ideal for now. Okay. And let's actually take a look at our industrial. Industrial is going to be stunted for a hot minute. So we'll go ahead and leave that be. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually end the episode off there. If you guys have any suggestions for either the city name or even the name of our first district, keep in mind our first district is based on the Countryside DLC, then by all means let me know by leaving a comment down below. If you like today's episode, then I do appreciate it if you do drop a like. I'm going to try and keep these videos at least around 40 minutes long, and if not, oh, well, you guys will figure it out. Either way, I'm going to be back for your guys' next video later this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in, and you have a wonderful rest of your day.